All right. So today we want to look at the general rule of differentiation. Exactly. So we say that if y is equal to x exponent n, comma, then it means that our dy dx, or the differential of y, then it means that dy dx is equal to, or can be expressed in the form of what? N times the x. Then at the same time, we're going to subtract 1 from the what? Exponent. That is, the n is coming to multiply, the n, which is the exponent, is coming to multiply the coefficient of the x, which is 1. Okay. Then later you come and subtract 1 from what? The exponent, which is the n. Exactly. 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 Okay. So I want you to take note of this very, 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 very importantly. We are saying that if y is equal to what? X exponent n, then dy dx is equal to what? N x exponent n minus 1. Okay, exactly. Please take note that the differentiation, or the first derivative of this y, what we are writing over here is the first derivative. Okay, it's denoted as what? Can be denoted as what? Y prime, or in some cases, some people may denote it as what? Let's say dy over what? Dx. Exactly. Someone just asked me, why are we saying dy dx? We are saying dy dx because the variables we can see over here actively are what? Y and what? X. Since it's y we saw first, it means that first of all, we have to write what? Dy over what? Dx. Okay. Then we can now just differentiate and we are good to go. Okay. Without talking too much, I want to just pick an example and see how best we can use that to what? Simplify whatever we have been talking about plenty. Okay, exactly. Simplify. So this, we said that y prime is also the same as what? Dy, the what? Dx. That is, if you don't want to use y prime, you can say that what? Dy dx. Okay, exactly. So let's quickly take one example, that is one try me, and then we see how best we can just use that to grab some understanding. Okay, so this is our, let's say, trial 1. Exactly. Since this is a trial 1, our question is in the form of what? Y. Our question is in the form of, let's say, y is equal to 5x exponent 4. That is, y is equal to 5x exponent 4 minus 3x exponent 3. Okay, plus 2x. Good. If you have such a question and you are supposed to differentiate, what are you supposed to do? The first thing you're supposed to do is that, one, we have to repeat the question for 1 mark. Then from there, we can continue to solve the question. Exactly. So the first thing we are also going to do over here is that, first of all, we are going to write what? Solution. Okay. After writing the solution, then it means that we are going to repeat the question for 1 mark. After repeating the question for 1 mark, then we can continue to make history. At this point, I'll urge good students to have a pen, a paper, and a calculator beside them, so that once I'm teaching, whatever I'm doing on the board, you can also practice that correspondingly. Failure to do some of these things will end you up becoming confused or not really knowing what we're actually doing. Okay, this course is a practical course, and I'll urge each and every one of us to have a pen, a paper, or a book beside us. Most importantly, you should have a calculator, so that you can be able to prove or disprove whatever is being taught. Exactly. So our question was given in the form of y is equal to 5x exponent 4 minus 3x cubed plus 2x. Okay. How do we simplify such a question? If you have such a question and you want to simplify it, once you have repeated the question, we are being asked to differentiate. Okay, that is, we should just find the first derivative. Okay, so let me put it over here so that some people don't get confused. Let's say if this question is asking you to find what? Just find the first derivative, that is what? Y prime, or dy dx. Then it means that this is how you go about it. Okay. If this question says you should calculate for your y prime, then this is how you go about it. Okay. So we are saying that if, comma, y is equal to 5x exponent 4 minus 3x cubed plus 2x, comma, find y prime. Or someone can also say find dy dx. The first thing we are supposed to do is I told you that y prime is the same as what? Dy dx. Okay. So in solving this, I'm going to first of all, I'm going to write what? My dy dx is equal to what? If you want to differentiate, first of all, we have to let this 4. The exponent come and multiply the coefficient. So you are going to get what? 4 times 5. Okay, exactly. Then you can still repeat your x. But look at what is going to happen to the exponent in this case. Now you're going to subtract what? 1 from the exponent. Exactly. We are going to repeat this negative symbol since it is affecting the 3x cubed. So in this one, to whatever we do to the initial, we are going to do the same thing. So the exponent, which is what? 3. We are going to use it to multiply the coefficient of x. Okay. So that is, we are going to be having, let's say, 3 times 3x exponent what? 3 minus 1. Okay. Also, the last one is going to be in the form of 2x. The last one is going to be in the form of, you see this number over here, this x, it is having an exponent of 1. But in some cases, they may write it, in some cases, it may not be written. I told that any number you see in this world, like even if you see a standing like this a has a subscript of 1, it has an exponent of 1 and a coefficient of 1. Okay, in the physics world, that is what is what happening. Yes. So from here, from this idea and from this knowledge I just transferred to you, realize that this 1 is going to multiply the 2, which is going to make it to become what? 1 times 2. Okay, 1 times 2x exponent, let's say 1 minus 1. Once you get to this point, it means that the rest is no more, let me say, elective maths or engineering mathematics, but the rest can be classified as just a core maths. Okay, exactly. So from here, how do we simplify this? You realize that our dy dx, can now is going to be equal to 5 times 4 is going to give us 20. Yes. And then look at what is going to happen to the exponent of x. The exponent of x, this one, if you subtract 4 minus 1, is going to give us what? 3. So it's going to be 20x cubed. Okay. Minus this one is going to be 3 is going to give us 9. Exactly. So 9. Then we can still bring the x now. So you realize that what is going to happen to the exponent over here? 3 minus 1 is going to give us what? Just 2. Yes, exactly. Then let's continue to make history. That is for this one. 2, 1 is still 2. But you realize that the exponent, 1 minus 1 is going to end this guy to become what? 0. At this stage, I want to tell you, everyone should quickly take his calculator and just punch any number. You can just punch 5 exponent 0. You still realize that it is what? 1. Any number exponent 0. Any number, even if you see a over here, like a exponent 0, it is just the same as what? 1. If you see 6 exponent 0, I want you to know that it is 1. If you also see, let's say, 50, even 51 exponent 0 is just equal to what? 1. So from the same idea or whatever I've been talking about, let's transfer the same knowledge here. And that is our dy dx, okay, in this case, is going to be equal to, let's say, 20x exponent what? 3, okay, minus 9x squared, okay, minus 9x squared plus 2 into bracket what? 1. So finally, we can rewrite our answer in a coherent and logical manner. That is, we can rearrange it well, or we can just leave it like that. But for learning reasons, look at what I'm going to be doing here. That is, our final answer is going to become what? Dy dx. You see, I just differentiated it one. I didn't do anything. So it's just y prime. Good. So our dy dx is now going to be what? Let's rearrange it well. And it can be said to be what? 2 minus 9x, 2 minus 9x squared plus 20x cube. After writing this, Someone said he or she was confused. Because of that, I have to just clean all of this now and then repeat the step two more last time to enhance understanding. Okay, but this is, if you leave your answer in this form, it is still very, very, very correct. Perhaps our final answer is still going to be left in this stage. Okay, so even before I come to this as our final answer, look at from this step, this can also be expressed as this, to just tell the examiner that you know what you are doing. Okay, so this is going to be equal to 20x cubed minus 9x squared plus what? 2, because I told you 2, 1 is just equal to 2. So finally, therefore we can say that what? Therefore, we can say that our y prime, okay, which is equal to what? Dy dx is equal to, let's say, 2 minus 9x squared plus what? 20. Okay, it's because I want to arrange it with respect to the what? Exponent of x. Okay, this 2 over here is not standing alone, but in the scientific world, yes, as I told you initially, in the scientific world, I want you to know that this 2 is having an x exponent what? 0 attached to it. So look at 0, 2, 3. If there was x exponent 1, I would have brought it before bringing the negative 9x squared. Okay, so this is our final answer, and this is how our final answer is supposed to look like. Exactly. 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 So from here, I'm going to just pick a different question, and then we all solve it and see how best we can just become history. Okay, exactly. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. Good students should ask more questions. Good students should ask more questions and answer questions in class, because these are some of the things that are going to make them become technical and more creative than they have ever been. Okay, exactly. Let's quickly look at our trial 2 and see how history we can all become. So this is our trial 2. Okay, so let's say this is our trial 2, or better still, we can just write try 2. Okay, and still life is easy. So let's say this is try hot 2. Exactly. So let's take note that our question is given in the form of what? If, in this case, we are saying that if y is equal to 3x exponent 4, okay, yes, plus 2x exponent 2 plus, let's say, x, comma, find dy dx. Okay, so this question is saying that if y is equal to 3x exponent 4 plus 2x squared plus x, we should find what? Dy dx. Exactly. So the first thing we are supposed to do from here, just from whatever we've been learning so far, first of all, we are supposed to write what? Solution. Okay, so this is our solution, and then in the solution we just have to repeat the question for 1 mark, and then we can proceed to make history. That is, you are doing this on the hot answer booklet. So this is our question. We were given that y is equal to 3x exponent 4 plus 2x squared plus, let's say, x. Okay, yes, 2x squared plus x. Exactly. So if you have such a question, and how will you go about it, or how will you go about it to be able to differentiate it better? Yes, all you have to do is that after repeating the question and then you have your 1 mark already, just as you have been doing so far, we come and write dy dx, then we continue to just differentiate and make history. So that is our dy dx is going to be equal to, this 4 will come and multiply what? The coefficient. Okay, then we are going to have 4 times 3. Okay, x exponent what? 4 minus 1. Also, the same thing we are going to do to this 2 is going to multiply the coefficient of 2. That is 2 times what? 2. X exponent what? 2 minus 1. Exactly. Plus, I told you so many things ago. This guy over here is having an exponent of 1, but if you have eyes, you see it. If you don't have eyes, you may not be able to see it. So that is, we are going to say that what? 1 times what? X exponent 1 minus 1. Okay, good. So finally, this is going to lead us to get an answer of what? Or this is going to let us to get our dy dx to be equal to this 3, 4 is going to give us 12. Okay, so you're going to get 12x exponent 3. Yes, plus 2, 2 is 4. So this is 4x exponent what? Just 1. Exactly. And this 1 times x is just going to give us what? X. Yes. So we are going to be left with x. But the exponent 1 minus 1 is what? 0. 1 minus 1 becomes 0 in this case. So you realize that from here, we can just simplify our answer, and then you realize that we are good to go. So finally, our dy dx, you can, if you can leave your answer in this form, but you know that you are going to lose marks. Okay, the person who is able to express him or herself better at the end of the day is going to win majority or much of the marks. So when you arrive at this stage, you remember whatever I told you. Any number exponent 0 is what? It's 1. So you just have to be able to remember that, and then you can use it to simplify your work. So finally, our dy dx can be written as what? Let's say 12x, or we can just rearrange it before we just simplify. Exactly. So we said that what? X exponent what? 0 plus 4x. It's not crossing any multiplication. It's not crossing any equal to sign. So the signs are still the same. If it was crossing an equal to sign, that is where the signs can change. Okay, so I just want to update you on this so that you don't get confused. Exactly. So plus, let's say 12x exponent 3. Okay, from here, from whatever I told you, the laws of engineering mathematics are the same for all observers in a uniform motion relative to one another. So no matter how we apply them, if we are only speaking the truth, they will always work well. So you see that this is going to give us what? 1, okay, plus 4x plus what? 12x cube. 12x cube. Exactly. So this is how our final answer is going to look like. Okay. So don't get confused. Anyhow, just be flexible to make sure that you're on the right path. So this is how can we have been able to come so far. Better still, let's take one more last example and see how history we can even become before we start diving in deeper to more technical problems. Yes. So let's take the trial 3. Let's take the trial 3. So our trial 3 is in the form of, so this is trial 3. Good. So in the trial 3, the question is, if we are saying that the question is if, in this case, I'm going to use a different variable. Just don't get confused. It is still the same. Just be flexible, and that is all. So you are saying that if v is equal to 2u exponent 3 minus 2, comma, find v hot prime or the v d hot du. Yes. Why is it that this time we are not saying the y the x, but we are saying the v du? We are saying the v du because the first variable we can see over here is what? V. V came first. So we are going to write what? The v. And then over When you come over, what is the next variable you can see within the numbers? The only variable you can see over here is u. That is why we are saying that what? The v, the what? The u. Please don't get confused. If maybe the question was in the form of, let's say that, look at something. No. If the question was in the form of, let's say, we have something like q is equal to m, or let's say q is equal to 3m exponent what? Minus 5. Then to differentiate this, we are going to say that what? The differential of this is going to be what? The q, okay? The q, the m, okay, is going to be equal to what? That is, the negative 5 is going to multiply the 3. And at the end of the day, we are going to subtract what? 1 from the what? Negative 5. So finally, you can say that your final answer, that is what? Q prime, okay? Or the Q prime is also known as what? The Q, the M, okay? Which can be said to be what? Negative 5 times 3 is going to give you what? Minus 15. So at the end of the day, you realize that you're going to be left with minus 15m exponent what? If you are owing someone 5 cedis and you still went and take 1 cedi, you realize at the end of the day, you're going to be owing what? 6 cedis. So exponent what? Minus 6. So that was just by the way. I just want to elaborate or just make emphasis on certain things to also introduce something to you. I'm just going to clean this and then we just solve our final problem. Okay, exactly. If you have any question, don't forget to see me in groups one-on-one, or better still, you can type it in the comment section and then I'll be available to just explain it to you. If you find these videos very nice and important and very knowledgeable, don't forget to throw $1 on my name when you happen to meet me in person. Exactly. So let me quickly take this off. And let's get busy to solve the original problem. At this point, I'm expecting good students to have just reversed the video, and or I'm expecting good students to have written what I have wrote down or what I just wrote down initially, so that if they happen to face such a problem in future, it doesn't become much of a problem. Good. So from here, the first thing we're supposed to do is that we have to put down our what? Solution. So after putting down the solution, like this, then it means that from here, we can say that we have to repeat the question. Okay, we have to repeat the question so that we don't lose the mark. So the question is what? V is equal to 2u exponent 3 minus 2. Now we are being asked to find the what? V prime, or the first derivative, or what? The V du. Okay, the first derivative means you just differentiate once. If you were being asked to calculate for the second derivative, that is you differentiate. That is when you're going to differentiate and what? Differentiate again. After talking plenty and just making some important emphasis, I'll take a question and let's see how we can also calculate for the second derivative in such a case. Exactly. So let's look at this problem. So from here, we are going to say that what? Our dv du is going to be equal to, so 3 times 2. Now we can bring the u. Then the exponent is going to be what? 3 minus 1. Okay, good. At this point, I want to say that I'll urge each and every one of us to pay much more attention, because the concept I'm about to introduce here, if you have not been following initially, then you realize that you're going to be stuck here a bit. Better still, if you had been able to just jot down some important points, you realize that it's just going to become a reference material to understand whatever I'm just about to do next. And that is, here is going to just become what? 0 times 2. Okay, 0 times 2 x exponent what? 0 minus 1. That is, in the physics world, or in the what? Virtual or abstract world, that is what is happening. You see, because I told you that this guy over here is having an exponent of what? It's having a coefficient of x exponent 0. But we don't write it because it is still 2 times 1, and it's going to give you what? 1. Any number exponent 0 is what? 1. So because of that, x exponent 0, that is with a constant number, if you use that number, that 0, to come and multiply the coefficient of 2, you will still get all of that to be 0, because I told you that any number times what? 0 is what? 0. You see what is happening over here? And that is why up to this point, I'll tell you that anytime you differentiate a constant, you are going to get what? 0, and this is the science behind it. So finally, we are going to say that what? Our dy dx, okay, sorry, we are going to say that our divin du, okay, our divin du is just going to be equal to what? 2, 3, or 3 times 6 is going to give you 6 u exponent 2 minus what? 0 minus 0. Better still, if you want to simplify your answer for it to be more logical, you can say that what? Therefore, v prime is what? Therefore, the v prime is 6 u exponent 2. Good. You are good to go. You are good to go. Finally, I want us to take the last question. Okay, I want us to take the last question, which we are just going to find the second derivative for. Okay, or better still, I'm going to take a question that involves a fraction to explain a concept to you. Okay, don't take it in a bad way. Let's just use that to master our understanding, so that if we happen to meet that somewhere, life can still be flexible as we have always wished it would. So let's just quickly take the final example, and that is, let's look at the trial 4. So this is our trial 4. Let's quickly write the trial 4 on page 6. Okay. So this is trial 4. So this is try 4. Okay. Yes. And this question is just in a form of what? Look, if y is equal to, let's say 4, okay, 4 times what? 1 over x squared. And then also you have a question followed by what? Plus, let's say 3x, or 3 times what? 1 over, let's say, x exponent what? 3. And your final one is in a form of, let's say, minus what? 6 over what? X exponent 4. How are you going to simplify such a question? Comma, find, and now after here they say what? Comma, find y prime, or dy dx. So here is saying that we should find y prime or dy dx. Good. So if you have a question like this, to find the y prime or the dy dx, it is just as simple as that. Okay, it is just as simple as that. So the first thing we are supposed to do from here is that, first of all, we have to repeat the question. Don't get scared at all. Don't get scared at all. So first of all, we are going to write our solution, and then we repeat the question. So this is our solution. This is our solution. Okay. So from here, I'm going to say that let's just write the question down quickly. And we had the question that was given to us is that y is equal to 4 times. So that is y is equal to 4 times 1 over x squared. Okay. Plus we also have 3 times what? 1 over x cube. Exactly. Okay. And the last one is in the form of 6 over what? X exponent 4. 6 over x exponent 4. So I want to just leave or give everyone a few time to just be able to jot down the question. Once you write down the question, we can all proceed and see how best we can all become knowledgeable than we have ever been. Good. Without talking much, or to avoid beating about the bush, after you are done putting the question down like this, I want you to know that anytime you see something like 1 over a, as a smart student, you should know that this is the same as what? A exponent what? -1. Also, if you see something like, let's say, u exponent -1, it is the same as what? 1 over what? U, and vice versa. Okay, if you go and see v, or let's say 1 over v, 1 over v means what? V exponent what? -1. So let's transfer that same idea in solving our problem over here. You see, so all this one, I'm just going to express them as an inverse. Don't get confused. Uh, don't let this confuse you at all. Okay, they are just all inverse, and remember to be able to express them well. As simple as that. So from that, whatever I've been saying, realize that our y prime, our y prime, our y prime is going to be equal to, and this is going to be 4 times what? X exponent what? -2. You see, plus, first of all, you see, you have to just, whatever is in a fraction form, you have to make sure it's in a linear form so that you can use it to differentiate, to make problems or life easy for you. If you don't make it become linear and you just try to solve it in a fraction form, you will face a lot of challenges. Good. So, and this is also going to become what? 3 times, let's say, x exponent -3. Finally, this one over here, I don't want you to get confused, okay? It is the same inverse, and that have been 10 like this. This over here can be rewritten as what? Yes, it can be rewritten as, let's say, let me just put it over here. Don't get confused. And that is 6 times what? 1 over x exponent what? 4. It can still be written as this. So this one is going to become what? -6x exponent what? -4. Minus 6x exponent what? -4. Because if the x exponent 4 goes up, it's going to become an inverse. That is why it's going to become -4. From the same concept I have given you, let's not waste much time. Let's just be able to apply it and use it to solve our problem. If you have any question, just type it in the comment section. I will review it for you so that life can become much more easier. So from here, we can continue to say that our dy dx, or we can just continue to what? Differentiate. Better so we can just express it in a more logical and coherent form before we just continue our differentiation. So finally, we can say that what? Our y prime, okay? Because I've not started differentiating yet. Because you see that all of what I've been doing, I've not even started differentiating yet too. I've not started the real differentiation. So let me not bring the y prime, okay? So let's say it's just y, okay? So I'm just trying to express y in a logical form, okay? In a layman's understanding before I can use it to solve or differentiate. So I'm saying that what? My y is equal to what? 4x exponent -2, okay? Plus 3 plus 3x exponent -3 minus 6x exponent what? -4. From this same concept, life is now much more easier than you can ever think of. So we are now going to start the main differentiation, and that is my dy, or let me say y prime, which is the same as what? Dy dx can now be expressed as what? This one, this 2 is going to multiply the 4. Okay, the 2 is going to multiply the 4. So it's going to be -2 times 4 x exponent what? -2 minus what? 1. The same thing is going to happen to this guy too, and that is -3 times what? 3x exponent what? -3 minus 1. Good. And over here, so you are going to get what? -4. Okay, because I brought this negative over here. Good. And this 4 is just still -4. So -4 times what? 6. -4 times 6x exponent what? -4 minus 1. From wherever we have been talking about plenty, let's just quickly, the rest is no more engineering mathematics, the rest become commerce. Let's just apply the same knowledge we have been using so far to simplify the work. Anyway, who is done solving the work so far? If you are done, you can just quickly point the answer in the comment section. I'll verify that for you, and life becomes much more easier. So from here, we see that what? Our dy dx, our dy dx, our dy dx can finally be what? Negative 2 times 4 is going to give us what? Negative 8. Okay? X exponent what? If you are owing someone 2 series and you still going to take 1 series, it means that you are owing what? 3 series. So negative 8x exponent, negative 8x exponent, negative 3. Okay? Over here, again is going to give you what? Positive times negative is still going to be negative. And that is, you are going to be left with what? 3 is what? 9. You're going to be left with negative 9, negative what? 9x exponent, negative 4. Because if you are owing 3 series, you're going to take 1. You are now owing what? 4 series. Over here, again is going to give us what? 4. So we say that what? Positive 4 times 6. 4 times 6 is going to give us what? 24. Okay. So we're going to get 24x exponent what? Negative 5. Okay. Yes. So you're going to be left with what? 24x exponent negative 5. 24x exponent what? Negative 5. As simple as what? ABC. As simple as ABC. As simple as ABC. Okay. If you get to this stage, you can choose to leave your answer like this, or if you still want it to be in a more coherent manner, why not? It is still accepted. Look at the powers. If you see these powers, you realize that x exponent negative 3 is even greater than x exponent negative 5. So better still, it means that we can just come and write our final answer as, that is what we say, our dy dx. Or better still, we can just also leave it that way. Okay. Yes, better still, we can also leave it that way. Or we can just say that what? Our dy dx. Okay. That is the dy dx. So we can say that our dy dx, dy dx can also just still be expressed in the form of what? Let's say 24x exponent what? Negative 5 minus 9x exponent what? Negative 4. Okay, good. Minus 8x exponent negative 3. And then you are good to go. Okay, then you are good to go. So this is our final answer. This is the final answer that we had. Okay, this is the final answer that we had. I want to just take one last more time to just talk about this just, and then, so we said that if you have a question like this, what do you do? First of all, you have to repeat the question for 1 mark. What is being expressed over here is an inverse. So if you send it up, it becomes what? 1 over x exponent 2. If you want to write it in a linear form, it means that it is x exponent negative 2. Okay. And this one is also going to become x exponent negative 3, as this also corresponds. So you realize that from here, it is still the same way I'm expressing them. Okay. So this is where the actual differentiation started from. Let me use a red pen to highlight that to help learners. So this is where the actual differentiation started from. Okay. So you realize that the y prime is the same as our dy dx, and that is these two. This x exponent negative 2, it comes to multiply the coefficient of x, which is 4. So you can say that negative 2 times what? 4. Okay, x. Now, the exponent, we always subtract 1 from it. Exactly. Over here, you realize that the negative 3 is going to multiply the coefficient of x. That is negative 3 times what? 3. X exponent negative 3 minus 1. Okay. Minus, this minus was already there. It's the dominant one. Okay. is the dominant one. Better still, if some people are getting confused, then I can just use a different color pen to denote that. Yes. If I once I use a different color pen to denote that, then I realize that the problems or challenges of humans are hot, solved. Yes. So that is it that you are seeing over there. That is it. That is here was just a positive, and here was what? Negative. Okay. These were the dominant sign. Okay. Before our differentiation took place to just change the signs. Okay. So this plot you are seeing over here, this is it over here. Minus negative 3 times 3 x exponent minus 3 minus 1. Yes. And this negative is that I've brought over them. Negative 4 is coming to multiply the coefficient of x, which is what? X. So negative 4 times 6 is going to give you what? Negative 24. Okay, but again will give you 4. That is why at the end of the day we came to write positive 24 x exponent what? Negative 5. Because if you are owing 4 cedis and you're going to take 1 cedi, you are going to be owing what? 5 cedis now. As simple as ABC. Look at negative 2 times 4 is going to give you what? Negative 8. So this one too is going to be exponent negative 3. It continues like that, as simple as ABC. Negative times positive is still giving negative. Okay, that is why we are getting 9 over here. That is why we are getting negative 9x exponent what? Negative 4. Okay, plus just 24 x exponent negative 5. You can still arrange it this way, and life is much more easier. On this note, my name still remains Engineer Megabyte. Don't forget to see me in groups, in person, one-on-one, provided you encounter any challenges, any challenge, okay, related to what we have studied so far. Exactly. Good students to solve more questions, send to me in my DM and I will just confirm it for them. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Stay active. The lecture 2 or the part 2 of this video is soon going to be out. Do well to watch it or do well to get a copy of it so that you can become more knowledgeable than you have ever been. I wish you all the best, and I pray that this video offers a great help to you all. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen.